stage a power duo, Rajamannar and Stephan Pretorius, two industry heavyweights who are generally at the forefront of innovation. Now, Raja is the Chief Marketing and Communications Officer and the President of the healthcare business at Mastercard, and he's also the President of WFA. So in case you were wondering whether that's enough to keep him busy, you're wrong. He's also a Wall Street Journal best-selling author. In his book called Quantum Marketing, he's drawing on his impressive track record at Mastercard, where he's been the driving force behind one of the industry's most innovative marketing strategies. Now, Raja is going to be joined on stage by Stephan Pretorius, and Stephan is the Chief Technology Officer at WPP, the world's largest agency holding group. Just to give you a sense of scale, the company places approximately 25% of the world's paid media. And Stephan's job is to figure out how tech can help us marketers do a better job. He describes himself as a skeptical technologist, at the same time critical of the hype and overpromise of current tech options, but profoundly optimistic about the long-term value of tech for society. Now, Raja and Stephan are going to share with you their views on how to harness the power of GenAI to build brands and give us a glimpse into the future of marketing. Fasten your seatbelts. First up, we're going to hear from WFA President and star of the industry, Rajamannar.
Thank you, Stephan. Good afternoon, everyone. What I'm going to actually talk about just for 10 minutes is what I see as the impact of AI on our craft and practice of marketing. And I'll also then after that have Stephan join us, and he is with WPP, and we'll have a conversation. And he is one of those highly respected professionals in the field of AI and its application in the context of marketing and advertising. So a lot of people have asked me, after I have written this book called Quantum Marketing 3 years back, where I talk about 24 different and incredibly powerful technologies that are coming our way, which will totally transform the entire landscape to such an extent that we have to reinvent marketing. We have to reimagine marketing, and all the theories and the frameworks that we have, thank you, all the theories and frameworks that we have all got to be redone. And I have mentioned in that, technologies like AI, or augmented reality, virtual reality, blockchains, 3D printing, 5G telecommunications, edge computing. You've got so many things which are coming, 24 of them. The most powerful one of those, and the single biggest transforming technology, is going to be AI. So this is what I have written 3 years back. At that time, there was no GenAI anywhere. So in fact, when I see how GenAI has come about and the speed with which it is growing, I said, wow, this is something which is really proving me out and my hypothesis out there. Interestingly, I had conversations with Philip Kotler, who I consider as my guru, because it's his books I learned all my marketing from. And he and I had a healthy discussion, and then he says, the future is exactly what it is you have written, which is quantum marketing, which was personally very gratifying to me. So to me, AI is going to introduce new frontiers, new dimensions that did not exist for us as marketers. What do I mean by that? Now, if you look at how insights are obtained by looking at various data sets, today we are highly restricted and limited in terms of looking at very disparate data sets which are unorganized or organized very differently, and to make sense out of them. The way we deal with them today is we deal with only one discrete data set, or maybe two related data sets, or maybe three, and you try to make sense out of those. But when you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of data sets that are out there, it's humanly impossible to make sense out of it, read patterns, read interlinkages and connections, and so on. But the way the insights are coming about using AI, stunning, absolutely mind-blowing. And I've seen examples of how things, for example, you take healthcare industry and you take payments industry and you take marketing industry, is there something that you can connect across these and make new insightful conclusions out of this? The answer is yes, and it is absolutely fascinating. But at a more mundane level, every single element of our marketing value chain can be empowered, enabled, or amplified to a significant extent by AI. And I'm not talking of just GenAI. Now, one of the examples I want to share with you, and I'll share two examples very quickly. The first one is what we call as the Mastercard digital marketing engine. Now, this digital engine we created in Singapore 6 years back, way before GenAI came about. I'll play the video for you, and I'll just tell you a few things about it after the video. So I'll play the video for you now.
In a world where most branded content is ignored or irrelevant, costing brands a fortune in lost consumers and lost revenue, the Mastercard digital engine is a game changer. Here's how it works. Powered by proprietary AI technology, the digital engine analyzes billions of microtrends happening all over the world, automatically matching those conversations to any of our priceless experiences, offers, card benefits, and rewards. And it does it all in real time. We can do a data-driven deep dive on each microtrend to see exactly what consumers are talking about, where they're talking, and for how long. Once we know our audience, we can create a targeted marketing campaign in minutes, not months, with custom content pulled from our library and relevant copy that puts us in the heart of any conversation instantly. The digital engine generates the creative and buys the media without losing precious time or wasting media dollars. And we can take it all down the second the trend has run its course. And it works, with over 500 successful campaigns launched for ourselves and our partners. Like this new breakthrough campaign for the Turkish Tourism Board, promoting Turkey to UK travelers through co-branded content. The digital engine, one-of-a-kind technology, setting new standards in marketing effectiveness, and we're offering it to each and every one of our partners. Because in a world where relevancy matters more every day, connecting people with their passions is what's truly priceless.
Right, just to rephrase it in plain English, this engine predicts what the next micro trend is going to be. A micro trend is a trend that lasts for 3 days or less. Once it predicts what the trend is going to be, it looks at the repository of all Mastercard's communication elements, offers, discounts, promotions, experiences, whatever, identifies the most appropriate one for that particular trend, micro trend. Then it creates an ad out of it. It does, using synthetic data, simulated test marketing, A/B testing done, but completely on synthetic data. Comes up with the optimal ad, finds the optimal media to place it in, buys the media, serves the ad, measures the response, measures the ROI. Everything happens automated, end to end. To my mind, this is one of the most sophisticated and cutting-edge marketing engines that is out there, leveraging AI and now even Gen AI. The effectiveness, if you were to see, of a campaign typically goes up by 4 to 8 times. I'm not talking percentages, but I'm talking of multiples. This is what we have created, and we are just beginning to scratch the surface of the capabilities of AI. Let me just play for you a second video, totally different application of AI and what we are doing about it. Just take a look at this.
A mentor is a guide, a connector, an advisor. And for too many small business owners, a mentor is all too hard to find. So Mastercard is using AI to create mentorship at scale. Introducing Mastercard Small Business AI, an innovative Gen AI tool built to embrace inclusivity and help bridge the gap between striving and thriving. It aggregates Mastercard's small business solutions. It collects the wisdom and experiences of successful entrepreneurs. It's fueled by a groundbreaking partnership with diverse media publishers, delivering responsibly sourced content relevant to all small business. And it channels all this innovation into an intuitive, personalized chatbot that answers your questions and offers you guidance just like a mentor would. Because in small business, there is a direct connection between mentorship and success. And we want every small business to succeed. This is one more way we're connecting everyone to the priceless possibilities in life.
Right, just to recap, if I'm a new entrant into the United States coming in from India, I go to this bot and I say, hey, I've just come into the US and I'm interested in starting a small business. How do I go about it? It'll ask me a series of questions. Do you like cooking? Do you like washing? Do you like food? What do you like? It assesses what I like. Then it tells me, based on what my experience is and everything that I have to keep answering questions, maybe you'll be better off starting a dry cleaning shop. And if you want to start a dry cleaning shop, the best place to start will be in Detroit, Michigan, in such and such a neighborhood, because there are grants available for dry cleaning shops in that particular place. The density of dry cleaners in the population is the lowest. The demand is high. That's where you need to go to. And then it'll help me fill the forms for that grant. It'll create the name for my shop. It'll create a campaign for my launch that is very cost. If I say my budget is $100, it'll give me a campaign for $100. It'll also connect to Mastercard's digital doors, which is the web presence that we enable for these small businesses, practically at zero cost, practically. And it'll help even loyalty programs for these folks, because typically we think loyalty programs are done by large companies, but this can do everything across the board. So it's a pretty fascinating kind of opportunity that we have. It might not even feel to you like marketing, right? The very face of marketing is actually changing, and when I say quantum marketing is totally reimagining how marketing is done, here are just a couple of small examples. One is you can see it as a campaign creation and tapping into that. The second one is actually you're creating a completely different way of engaging people who are not even in that space today. With the advent of AI, life is going to be completely enabled in a different way. I'm extremely excited, and there's no better time to be in marketing than we are today, because the things that we could only dream of in the past are the things we can actually do now. Now, on that note, let me actually invite Stephan Pretorius to the stage. He is the Chief Technology Officer of WPP, and prior to coming here, not here as in Toronto, but prior to his current role, he was the UK Group CEO and Global CTO of Wonderman. So thank you very much for being here, Stephan.
Thanks, Raja.
I have interacted with a number of folks in the world of AI because I'm also a little nerdy. And this is one guy who is absolutely fantastic. And so thank you very much for accepting the invitation and then showing up today. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So just a few quick starters, and then we'll go a little deeper. Describe Gen AI's impact on marketing in one word.
Transformational.
Transformational. OK, excellent one. What technology will be the biggest disruptor?
Within GenAI or in general?
What technology in general?
Agents. Agents.
Got it. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for marketers to be equipped with the latest technology? It almost seems like self-evident, but.
I think it depends who you are. I think if you are a marketer who needs to be at the cutting edge of innovation, then 10. If you're a marketer who can be more conservative and maybe wait for things to emerge and come down in price and risk, then maybe 6 or 7.
6 or 7. Still, it is about 5.
Yeah.
OK, my personal view on that is marketing is going to be so tech-dependent and tech-driven. If you don't keep up with the technology and make it your #1 priority, you become obsolete very quickly. You become irrelevant very quickly. That's my view on this. In a few words, what's your dream tech solution for marketers?
Oh, that's a very difficult one. So I think we are able to build, and we are on our way of building technology that makes marketers altogether more effective, creative, and impactful. And what that solution looks like is a combination of access to enormous amounts of data, agents that you can interact with, question, inquire, become thought partners that create new possibilities for you in terms of how you can execute, how you can build products, do innovation, and ultimately improve how you connect with your consumers. So it's effectively a system that uses AI across the entire end-to-end supply chain of the marketing function, but does it in such a way that makes us all more creative, more intelligent, and more effective.
Beautiful. Which is what I would like to believe our digital engine is all about. But we have still a lot of path to cover. Now, from Gen AI point of view, it's been growing like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Exponential growth rate. What do you see is the further growth potential here, and why?
So I think that, it's really a very unique phenomenon, and myself, like many of you in the audience, were maybe there in the mid-90s when the internet started getting commercialized, and everyone was saying, this changes everything, retail shops are going to be dead, this is like, if you're not online, you don't have a business in 10 years' time. I think this is bigger. I think this is bigger in terms of how it's going to disrupt humanity and change the way that we are as humans, because fundamentally this is a technology about intelligence. It's not a technology that just changes some kind of element of human behavior. It actually changes how we think and how we think critically and solve problems. And so, I think we have this kind of opportunity to harness this technology, but it's incredibly hard to understand where it's going to go, because an exponential curve is very hard for humans to forward project onto. So you think, okay, I've seen GPT-4o this week, and I saw Gemini VO, so I've got this idea that I can have multimodal agents that can navigate the world and understand things, and so we think, okay, I'm going to spend the next 3 months building solutions against that technology. And you think about all the ways that can be applied to your business, and you build some tools, and you get excited, and the next thing you know, GPT-5 launches, and it's over there, right? And it's got a completely new set of capabilities that's very hard to imagine. And so I think this is really the issue of where we are at the moment, is that there are very, very few people, and I'm really talking about a handful of people in the world, who are at the cutting edge of innovation in this technology, who really understand where it could go. And even they disagree about where it will go and how far it will go. When do we get to AGI? Can machines be conscious? Will they be able to be autonomous and have volition as opposed to just respond to things? These are things that the top experts in the world disagree about. Right? So, it's a very difficult thing to forward project. But what I can say confidently is, whatever you think the state of the art is today will look like, nursery school in 6 months' time. And that will continue for a significant amount of time until we hit some kind of barrier like the end of Moore's law, or not enough energy or not enough silicon in the world to actually take us further.
See, when I look at some of my interactions with my peers, both from WFA platform and other platforms that I'm associated with, my heart sinks a bit as to how far marketers run away from technology.
Yeah.
And even today, I don't know how many of you will be honest enough to admit, if you put your hand on your hearts and say, do you really understand programmatic? And how does it work? And how do you really take advantage of it? And we had very candid conversations with my peers, and they said many of them don't. My worry is, and programmatic is 20 years old, 25 years old. Now, when you talk of AI with an incredible amount of power that it can bring, it can empower you like at an unbelievable rate. And the pace of change, the way you have described, Stephan, is so rapid. How should marketers even begin to approach this? Because my concern is, as a craft, we are losing our gravitas, we are losing our place. I'm talking about marketers. CMO roles are being eliminated. There is a lot of people who are losing their seats at the CEO's table, because they are not able to keep up time, talk the language of the CEO, talk the language of the CFO, and they are technology phobic, they are data phobic, and they are finance phobic. And if you're phobic with all these three, then you're really in trouble. And that's what is happening, and the trend is not very encouraging. Now, when AI is coming, You have to be on top of it. How do you suggest that marketers approach this?
I mean, in the defense of the people you're speaking to, I mean, I sort of understand the resistance to get excited about programmatic. I spent 20 years of my early career in programmatic advertising, and by the end of it, I was so bored, you know, and I wanted to top myself. So I'm extremely happy that my world has opened up. But what I would say is it's a very different thing, right? I mean, the one was saying there's a sort of, you know, very automated way of serving, you know, personalized to some degree ads to people on very small screens at high speed, and it really didn't encompass the totality of what it means to be a marketer, right? It's one channel, it's display advertising on small screens, and it's a very narrow, you know, slice of what it means to be a marketer. I mean, Marcel's earlier talk where he kind of showed the entire remit of what they do in AB InBev, from, you know, portfolio management to trade marketing and innovation, and, you know, it's the whole thing. I mean, that's a wide intellectual landscape to manage. Now, the good news is that AI and generative AI can help you augment every single part of that process. But what it forces you to do is to think again and think very deeply about what is the essence of each of those functions. What's the role of brand design and brand, you know, definition, and, you know, doing being able to define the articulation of a brand accurately. Because if you're not good at that, then you can't train an AI to be a representative of your brand. If you don't have a detailed definition of your consumers or how your channels behave, then you can't train an AI to understand what content will work in what channels. So in every respect, I mean, I can give you, you know, another 20 examples. In every respect, what AI does is it rewards deep domain expertise and critical thinking and specific thinking and knowledge of every single part of our function. And that to me is a very optimistic reality. It's not an opinion, it's a reality. If you train an AI brain on 20 pages of PowerPoint about a brand versus 1,000 pages of a detailed, you know, brand definition, the one trained on 1,000 pages will be a lot more accurate and a lot more useful than the one trained on 20 pages. And that's not just a question of volume of data, that is a question of specificity and, you know, sophistication of how the brand is articulated and represented, etc. And that goes for every part of what we do. So I think it's the roundabout way to answer your question is we have to stop worrying about the cutting edge technology. Don't worry if you can make videos with Sora. It'll come, okay? It'll happen. So stop obsessing about the latest cutting edge thing that's, you know, meant to, you know, inflate the market valuations of startups. Don't worry too much about that. Focus on what is your core craft, what is your core skill sets and IP, organize your data around that, and then work with people to help you build solutions and tools for marketing that can actually use that information. So I think that's the answer. It's like the technology to some degree is a distraction, right? Your future is in applying the depth of your craft and knowledge to the technology.
Yeah, you see, a couple of things, you know, what I have discovered myself, and just out of curiosity, I set up my own AI studio at home. So I bought the most beast of a computer with all kinds of, you know, power in it and all kinds of software. I keep loading and playing with it. The more I am playing, the more possibilities I see.
Completely.
What are the kind of things that I can do? And that sort of is inspiring. It opens up new thoughts, new ideas, new concepts, and so on. And what I keep telling my team, and anyone else who is prepared to listen to me, is to say that to spend time playing with it. I think you need a certain level of, minimum level of understanding. You cannot be ignorant. You cannot delegate knowledge. You need to at least familiarize yourself enough to understand what is happening and to be able to ask the right questions. And if a question is answered, to make out whether it is fluff, spin, or there is substance in it. I think it's extremely important. And there are so many courses that are available free. And there are so many people who are fantastic at this field, even from an application, not philosophically and in a generic way. You have to invest time and effort to learn. Not to become experts at AI, but good enough to be able to understand the possibilities AI brings to your job. My worry is, after the mid-1990s, when internet came and where data analytics came, a lot of marketers stuck to their classical mode and they got disintermediated, and a new branch of marketers started coming out of Silicon Valley, like the performance marketers. And marketing does not have the same kind of, I would say, stature and gravitas like before, and that's very true. Now with AI coming in, that's my biggest fear, that we will hand out the agenda again to somebody else to run away with, and we will not be where we need to be. This is something which I'll keep ranting about. But the point is, I just wanted to ask you one more question, Stephan, is from a marketing point of view, or marketer point of view, are there anything that people are doing that you find is particularly useful that the group can take away from? These are the do's, which I think you would want to replicate, or these are the don'ts you want to stay a mile away from.
Yeah. Look, I think it's, you're absolutely right. AI has become, or generative AI has become not just a marketing agenda, it's become a kind of a corporate strategy topic for every one of, your companies, I would imagine. And so, the last year I've spoken to more boards and CEOs and CFOs than I've spoken to marketers almost, which is a, unique sort of new trend. And so I think you're absolutely right. Marketers do have to immerse yourself in these technologies, play with it yourself, be hands-on, have a point of view on Claude versus ChatGPT versus Gemini. It's not difficult. You're all intelligent people. These tools are available for free or for very cheap, monthly fees. At an enterprise level, though, what you have to do is you have to work with your partners in the IT organization to build environments inside your company where your data is secure and the inputs and outputs that you put into generative AI systems can be done securely and privately. You do not want your innovation data leaking into a public system. Yeah. You do not want your brand performance data leaking into some public database. And now, this has been possible since about April last year. Platforms like IBM Watson X, Microsoft's Azure AI platform, Google's Vertex, these are all platforms that are now available where you can access all the large language models in the world through these enterprise ML platforms and build solutions on top and actual applications in your business. So, technical infrastructure at a corporate enterprise level is key because you do not want data leakage or kind of any kind of mishaps happening. But then more practically, what I'd say you need to do is you need to think about, for your own business and your own category, what are the actual priority use cases? And they're different depending on categories. They're not the same. In yours, maybe it was more about building applications for small businesses, more consumer-facing applications. In other businesses, it's going to be more about media optimization or about production automation or whatever. But the useful framework we use at WPP is the sort of 3 buckets of AI application and marketing. First one being inspiration, the second one automation, and the third one optimization. And I know it feels slightly broad and nebulous, but think about inspiration as use cases that help you to ideate better, come up with new concepts faster, almost the kind of things that you would do with your agency, create mood boards, come up with our campaign ideas, these kind of things. And there's a huge amount of application of generative AI in that field. Automation is a lot more about taking existing business processes and either eliminating them entirely or speeding them up. Right? So how do you create thousands of versions of an ad really, really quickly? How do you go from a prompt to a piece of content you can use in trade marketing, for a product in a particular, environment? And then optimization is things like, how do you know what content's going to work before you even run it in paid media? And that is an AI process because you use generative AI, or GPT-V, or Gemini with Vision to build models that extract features from images and videos. You map that against effectiveness measures like brand lift studies or like conversion studies. You build a model, a predictive model, that then in the future can tell you any new ad, is it going to be effective or not against your objective. Now, that doesn't feel, it's a bit like what Jonathan Adeshik was saying earlier about the stuff under the surface, the iceberg. Those kind of things are under the surface because what consumers see isn't generative AI, but the way you got to the product was deeply infused with generative AI in order to get to the answer. And there are hundreds of these use cases. So you've got to, and frankly, like Raj was saying, there's many, many resources online, that are starters, but in some way, the best practitioners of the stuff are people who've actually grappled with it themselves and done the hard yards to work through it. You've got to be analytical about it, but please do that in a safe environment, with all the IT guardrails around it.
Yeah, in fact, I just wanted to share one example. which is more B2B, because one of the questions I've been always asked was, is it really equally applicable in B2B as it is in B2C kind of marketing? The answer is yes. And one example which I found was stunning. And when you're talking in terms of inspiration, automation, and optimization, we have created something called the RFP factory at Mastercard. So when a bank gives us an RFP, we have fed all the past RFPs into the engine, trained the engine on that, so it knows what answers were given to what questions, the standardization of the data, and it knows which RFPs we won and which RFPs we did not win and why not. All that data is there in this. It's a little bit of a time-consuming thing, but it knows. Now, when a bank gives an RFP to us, typically it takes about 7 weeks for us to come to draft 0, and then from there it is refined. Now, we are actually able to do it in less than 4 hours.
Yeah.
7 weeks versus 4 hours. The quality is so much more superior. The impact is so much better. It is absolutely stunning. The point of trying to say this is, across the entire value chain of marketing, whether it is consumer insights, or consumer acquisition, it's ad creation, even briefing your agencies, evaluating the creatives, media planning, everywhere you take right till customer entire life cycle, it is something which is going to be game-changing. And this is one technology I urge and plead with you, try to learn at least enough to be effective, enough to be able to deal with it, enough to be able to leverage it. That's what I would say. Any closing thoughts from your side?
Yeah, I would just echo that maybe and may give you one more example. There's, besides optimization of performance, there's a massive problem in many categories, whether it's pharma or whether it's automotive, about content governance. And content governance is regulated by local laws, brand guidelines, all kinds of things that dictate how you can talk about a brand. And if you're really honest about yourself, the people who make the content have never read those guidelines in detail. In some cases, they're 6,000 pages long. Literally, one of our automotive clients has a 6,000-page manual for how you can talk about their different models in different markets with different claims, etc. And so the process is that people make content, it gets thrown over to the fence of the legal team, and there's a huge legal engine that basically reviews content, often offshore now, that basically goes through the guidelines and the rules and evaluates the content and then tells you yes or no, right? This is a job for a machine, right? It is a job for a machine. And so, think about your own business. Think about opportunities where you can automate processes like that by training an AI on those guidelines, on those regulations, and you can drastically reduce your cost of governance, which then frees up more money to spend on creativity and media and other examples. So, I think when I say it's transformational, I mean it's going to change the shape of the industry. It's going to change where we spend money on what functions. And my hope and my ambition for all of us is that we spend less money on things that aren't value-adding and more money on things that connect with consumers, invest in creativity, and frankly help our businesses to grow.
Well said, Stephan. Thank you very much. We are on the dot. So thank you very much, everyone, for your patience. I appreciate it. Good luck.
Thank you, Roger.